end of PI 27 report from the participation tools workstream. This is a very busy workstream. An awful lot has been discussed, and a lot of progress has been made over the last PI. This workstream falls under the Make Adoption Easier pillar, which means our focus is to reduce or remove barriers to adoption of Moduloop as the payments platform of choice. We have some objectives currently in the workstream that are laddering up to that. Basically, we want to foster as diverse and vibrant a set of open source tools as we can to reduce and remove those barriers to entry, not just on a technical level, but on a business level as well, to both the adoption of Moduloop as a payment scheme, but to the participation of financial institutions in Moduloop-based schemes. To that end, we try to coordinate contributions from the Moduloop community to deliver solutions, open source solutions, which meet the requirements of stakeholders as best as possible. Over the last PI, we have published some improved guidance documentation, links in the deck, which will be shared afterwards. But I'll give you a quick whistle-stop tour of that. Again, the Moduloop documentation website, if you zero in on the product section, you'll see in the left-hand side menu, connectivity support, where we discuss the various options there are for financial institutions, DFSPs connecting to Moduloop-powered schemes. You'll see a link to a participant feature matrix, which, similar to what we do with our deployment tools, we have a two-dimensional matrix which guides you as to which of the open source options are most appropriate for your particular situation or use case. Right now, we've covered smaller self-hosting DFSPs, medium and large self-hosting DFSPs, and fintechs who are wishing to use the features that you will have heard discussed so far this week, like PISP. Again, these documents are very much living. You'll see there's open questions in a few places. I would encourage you to have a read of this page. The idea is that if you know what you want to achieve, you can come here, and by looking across the various axes, you can identify which of the participation tools you should be starting to look at. We have spent a considerable amount of time thinking about the onboarding journey for participants. Yev has spent a considerable amount of time working on refactoring the Moduloop Connection Manager product, which was donated to the Moduloop Foundation some time ago. The process of adopting that code, which is part of the payment manager for Moduloop code base, is well underway. There are still some outstanding tasks to complete, mostly around standardization of the continuous integration pipelines. Any donation from community has to meet the same strict standards that we apply to all of our code repositories in terms of test coverage, documentation, security, vulnerability scans, etc. So there's quite a large number of repositories in the MCM and Payment Manager code base that are going through the process of receiving the standardized Moduloop CI pipeline and fixing any of the issues that we encounter along the way. The idea is that when that's complete, the Moduloop Foundation, the core maintenance team, and the work streams will take over stewardship of that code base and maintain it for adopters and participants alike into the future. The MCM refactoring has been significant because up until recently, MCM was quite tightly coupled to our infrastructure as code deployment. So it made it hard for people to test and experiment with the onboarding process without a production quality deployment of Modular, which is obviously quite a large and costly thing to do. Now it's quite simple to deploy MCM. You can deploy it on your workstation or your development laptop alongside, say, a core test harness deployed version of Modular, and you can test your integration with your backend, your core banking system, quite simply without having to take the time and effort to do a full IAC Modular deployment. I do have a video from Yev talking through some of the feature improvements that have been made in MCM, particularly around the security of the onboarding journey. Part of the coupling between MCM and IAC was to do with the way secrets are shared between participant and the hub operator. That process has now been improved, so no private key material, no secrets ever pass across that barrier. Both sides generate their own secret keys, and neither side can see. And that doesn't have to all be hosted within an ISC deployment. So without further ado, I'll play the video.
Hi everyone. Today I'm excited to demonstrate the improvements I've done to the connection manager. So the connection manager is an important component in the module loop ecosystem that allows hub operators and the FSPs to manage certificates, endpoints, and secure communications. And with the new key clock and the Keto integrations, the authentication system was greatly improved, and support for PM4ML credential management was also added. It also improved the DFSP onboarding process overall, making it easier for new participants to get set up. So let me walk you through the key features that's been implemented. So I'm going to create a DFSP as the hub operator and show you how this process looks like right now. So I'm already logged in to the MCM portal as the portal admin, and I'm going to create a new DFSP. Let's call it demo 1. And notice the key change. Now this DFSP creation form has an email address, and this is the email email of the DFSP operator, and it will receive an invitation email on this email address later. So I'm going to use the temporary email address for this. Select any zone and click submit. So when I submit this form, the system, the MCM, automatically creates a DFSP user, a DFSP in the MCM database. It creates a Keycloak user account for the operator. It also creates an OAuth client for PM4ML integration. It sets up the DFSP specific permissions in Keto and sends an automated invitation email to the operator. So the DFSP operator now should receive an invitation email with the secure setup link. And this should eliminate manual credential sharing and provides a secure onboarding experience. So let's check the inbox, and we can see the email sent by the Module Loop Hub. So I'm going to log out from the portal admin user. Okay. And yeah, so we'll click on this link. And it will take us directly to the Keycloak secure password setup page. Okay, we're going to fill some password here and set up some personal information. And click submit. So after that, the FSP operator will get automatic redirect to the authentication page, to the Keycloak. So I'm going to use the passwords that we just entered, and the email as the login. Okay. So after successful authentication, the DFSP operator gets redirected back to the MCM with a secure session. And notice that they only see the resources and operations for their specific DFSP. So this is Keto-based authorization I implemented. The system queries Keto to determine what this user can access based on their DFSP role. So they can manage certificates, endpoints, and configurations, but only for the assigned DFSP. So one of the biggest improvements we're going to show you, I'm going to show you this new integration section here. And this is one of the improvements to automate the credential sharing between the hub operator, DFSP, and PM4ML setups. So DFSP operator can now generate WAL credentials directly from the UI. And those credentials are going to be stored in Vault for security. So DFSP operator can just click generate credentials, and you can see credentials being generated, and they are ready to be copied and pasted with those buttons securely into the PM4ML configuration. So it eliminates the manual sharing of credentials between the hub operator and the DFSP. So only DFSP operator can access this particular page. Hub operator doesn't have this section, or it cannot access the API even of this PM4ML credential management. So yeah, so this process should make it easier and more secure for DFSP operators to set up their PM4ML, like their module loop setup on their side.
Thanks, Yev. I'll open the floor to questions about that in just a second. Okay, I just wanted to mention a couple of things about that demo. So when we say that the improvements allow better credential management for PM4ML. It's actually not just PM4ML, it's anything that uses the MCM client now. The MCM client is a component that it happens to be embedded in the Moduloop connector, which is the open source off-the-shelf integration layer between the switch and the FSP core banking system. But there are other participation tools out there which can now make use of those APIs as well. The protocol is an open standard called OIDC, Open ID Connect, which is kind of an extension of OAuth. So actually, any OIDC compliant client can use that, the client ID and the client secret that you saw there to obtain authentication tokens now from the switch key cloak in order to engage in the state machine exchange that happens to configure the various endpoints, the core back endpoints, the certificates for TLS and JWS, etc. That can now all be automated, and there are standard SDK components in the open source that demonstrate how to do that. What are we going to do going forwards? Well, for the rest of this PI, we're going to be focused on getting those enhancements released. What Yev didn't demo was the MCM state machine, which sits in the DFSP's boundary within their either payment manager or integration toolkit instance that negotiates the various steps of the secure key exchange between the two sides and the rotation of keys. We have a few tasks to complete before we can publish that in a shrink-wrapped off-the-shelf solution. We also want to complete those last few steps on CI/CD or the payment manager code base, and just complete any of the last security vulnerabilities and dependency updates that needed to meet the Moduloop standards there. A kind of background task that's always running in this work stream is thinking about how we can better package these solutions. As time has gone by, things have got a little bit fragmented, and the repositories for these various pieces of code that help participants onboard and connect and integrate with Moduloop have become a little fragmented. Some of the documentation we've been working on is to try and pull those together, so there's one jumping off point to point at the various repositories. That's improving, but we're going to spend some more time trying to figure out how to do that. One of the things we've been looking at is an index, categorized index of repositories. Those of you who spend time in the Moduloop GitHub org will notice that there's over 200 repos there now. We're doing our best to try to rationalize that and make it easier to navigate and find the code that you need to solve your particular problem. As ever, we're very keen for people to join us on this work stream. If you have some time to donate and integration between DFSPs, participants, and payment schemes like Moduloop, if that is part of your daily job or an interest of yours, please come and join us. We'd love to have you. We have a meeting once a week on Wednesdays at 0800 UTC. Apologies for the earliness of that. But most of the participants in the work stream are ahead of UTC, so it's not been a problem. Again, we maintain a comprehensive set of meeting notes and diagrams and links to all our documents and discussion materials. We keep track of our objectives and detailed meeting minutes for all of the meetings that we have. Like I said, it's been a very busy and productive work stream over the last couple of PIs. I encourage you to have a read through our notes, bring yourself up to date, come and join the party. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I just see that one question from Miller. Yes, so all of this is fully integrated with the Ori stack, Miller, that we already have and deploy.
Great, thank you, James. I also want to call out Infotech's and just to thank them for all of the early work they did on Payment Manager for Mojaloop, and also for the contribution and for the continued work on getting this integration done. And obviously, this is going to be a cast of thousands in the end for those that are contributing to making it part of Mojaloop, but also those that will end up using it in the field and improving it over time. It's a hugely important piece of work, and I really want to thank everybody for that.
Yes, thanks, Miller. It really is a very large volume of code that's already done an awful lot to ease the integration of a large number of DFSPs onto the active Mojoloops out there.